Welcome back to the first of the worst podcast. I believe this is season 2, episode 1.
Yeah, he's Brendan Murphy. I'm Steve Arendas.
Thank you for joining us. We're pumped to be back, and this week we are talking about jobs.
Yeah,
and they
jobs.
They are fake jobs, which, as a comedian, I know much about.
They're kind of real jobs in fake situations because we're talking about jobs in movies.
Jobs. I did fictional.
Fictional. I don't know why I said movies, but yes, fictional.
You naturally
Books,
think of movies, though.
Books, movies, TV shows, anything. The occupations characters have in these things. This was kind of. I'm not gonna lie. I think this will be a fun one to talk about. I don't know how accurate my list is.
Well, I agree, and also I didn't know how to rank what is better. Obviously,
Exactly.
President of the United States is an awesome job.
Is it though?
I don't know.
You can make a lot more money.
Better than boutique store owner,
which is totally on my list.
But but I also there's totally two different ways to look at it. There's dramatic, serious narratives and the jobs people have in those, and then there's sitcom, romantic comedy jobs, which are actually kind of way more cliched and funnier.
Yeah, I totally came up with the same thing too. Some of them are just what are the jobs that are overused in TV because it's easy to write stories about them. And then there's these weird occupations that people just happen to have a lot of in romantic comedies and TV shows and stuff, but it doesn't really have much to do with the storyline at all. It just happens to be what the job is.
In fact, the storyline is generally that they are doing a kind of cool job, but really it's just tangentially related to whatever their passion is.
Yeah, it's usually.
And then when there's a breakup or something, they pursue their passion, and it goes really well. And let me tell you, I've pursued my passion, and it has not gone the way it usually goes in those rom-coms.
It's not going the worst.
No, it's not. It's going fine. I just think that in those movies, it's 6 months later. Then if the guy wanted to be a comedian, they'd be like, "Here he is at the Laugh Factory." Be like Mike Birbiglia featuring the main character from this movie as the opener, and you're like, "Well, that seems easy."
No way. I feel in the movie it'd be a year later, and they'd have a Netflix or Comedy Central special. Not quite HBO.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of going to an understated version of that.
But yeah, it's something like that. All right, so let's just get into this. I think this is gonna be a little weird, but I think it's gonna be good. So what is your number 10?
My number 10 is just general artist.
Oh, I totally didn't put that, but that's a great one.
It's definitely more of a rom-com type of job than a serious show or serious narrative type of job. Mm-hmm. But you do see it. People who are oh, I'm a sculptor, or people who say shit to you in real life and you don't take them seriously because you figure that means they work at Starbucks.
Yeah.
But in the rom-com or the sitcom universe, they don't work at Starbucks. They
have a sick loft.
They just throw clay in their loft all day.
They have a sick loft. Yeah. And it's just clay or paintings everywhere, and they're clearly somehow making money. But they're
and there's no mention of their parents funding their life or how much work they sell.
Sometimes they will talk about how they're struggling, yet they have this awesome place.
Oh, the struggle is not real on television, as we know.
So I kind of just copped out here on my number 10, and I just lumped these all. These are all ones that just a million TV shows and movies and everything are about people with these jobs, and I just put them all in one category: lawyer, doctor, cop. Lawyer, doctor, cop. Almost cop, I think, but and all of them also have this where maybe the star of a sitcom, that's his job that you never see him do too. It could be one of those.
You're right. They do have some crossover.
Right? It could be a little bit of both. Lawyer, doctor, cop, but there's just so many just lawyer shows and cop shows, or lawyer and cop shows. And
procedural dramas.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They're kind of the backbone of a network television schedule.
Yeah, these things. Yeah, absolutely.
There is the Chicago trilogy right now.
Yeah, but they don't have a lawyer show. Though I heard they might be getting one.
No, they do. I believe they came out with Chicago Law.
No, they have PD, Fire,
Med
and Med. Yeah.
I think they are getting a lawyer show
I think they are.
because leave it to the networks to just be like, we need to make 1 million of these things if they're working.
Hey,
And the fact that they're in Chicago has nothing to do with them working. Right?
no, you're right. And isn't Chicago? There's been so many like hospital shows in Chicago.
Yeah, at one time there was ER and Chicago Hope.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but there's just like 1 million of those procedurals.
Yeah, I have lawyer on mine. But you're right, lawyer is kind of also like a sitcom type person job.
Cosby Show, lawyer doctor combo for the parents, right? Wasn't Claire a lawyer?
I actually didn't watch a ton of that show. Now I feel a little vindicated.
In retrospect, you haven't ruined it.
At first, I was racist. Now I'm a feminist.
But yeah, lawyer Dr. Cop. And then my number 9, I kind of made this one generic because it could actually cover a lot of things. So I kind of really went generic on my bottom couple here. And it's government jobs. Be it president of the United States, be it king, princess.
Yeah. I actually didn't go with that because I kind of did it based on the shows that I like. Like my top 4 jobs are all from the shows that you and I like the best. I mean, I don't have like Pyromancer on there, but I have jobs that you're gonna be like, oh, obviously that's from this show.
You don't have Pyromancer. You don't have.
I don't have Pyromancer.
You don't have Red Priestess as one of your.
No.
There's multiple in that show.
Small council member not on there. But
government jobs. Though I mean, I liked Parks and Rec, and that's like low level government.
Parks and Rec though is kind of based off The Office.
Yes,
where it's all just the futility of these meaningless jobs.
Yeah.
You know what will probably not be on either of our list is salesperson, which is the most common job in America.
And yeah, like things that didn't make our list.
Anyone can do it.
Accountant. These aren't like common TV jobs, but they're like a lot of people have those jobs.
Because I guess you turn on the show to escape your boring ass life.
You know what another job is you don't see a lot of in TV? At least maybe I'm wrong, is teacher. Now, college professor, yes, maybe. But you don't see like teachers, I don't
No,
think.
you don't. Although the new show Teachers
is
on
some
TV
butt
Land.
fuck channel. Yeah,
it's fucked. It's pretty well written. You know, those are local girls.
Yeah, I know they're local Chicago girls. I hope, at least, I doubt that show is because it's on a bad channel, but I hope that like the show's good enough that they can like then move on to something else. Or
yeah, I mean, I think it probably is because I don't know. Once you got a writing credit for a show that was made, you can always write.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's called the Katie Dids. Their show is on TV Land. Let's help them out with our as much
TV Land, not the Buttfuck Network, which I said.
that is more of a website.
It probably is. What's your number 9?
My number 9, it's the job that everyone says they want, but probably doesn't want.
Oh.
Bartender.
Oh, bartender's on my list. It's my number 5. We can just talk about it now.
They're almost always dudes.
Yeah, I was gonna think there's not a lot of female bartenders on TV. I guess on the New Girl, one of them's male, and there's a female and male bartender on that show.
Is Hottie McTits on that show for good? Megan Fox?
No, so it's actually, I don't know if you watched it. The one she's on, she's actually pretty funny. She's been funny in things before. She was funny in that This Is 40 movie, which I didn't even know.
The best part. She actually was the best part of that movie.
She is. So
ways.
I guess, yeah. So I guess what's her face is pregnant in real life.
Zoe.
Zoe. So that was kind of what they did. Instead of like just like making her stand in front of like shopping bags and stuff, they just like wrote her off the show for like a while. And Megan Fox is like replacing her for a while. And then like her character's got to be like off the show. Like there's going to be some way that she leaves. Yeah. And she's like a very different character.
I didn't really stick with. I saw that show. It was fine. You know, I
didn't like it at first. I stopped watching it. Came back when my boy David Wayans Jr. was on, and I'm back, even though he's not even on it anymore.
I love the dudes in the cast. I love Jake Johnson.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Oscar Isaac, although very easily confused with Oscar Isaac. And then the guy who's the smart ass guy.
Yeah, the other white guy
who used to be fat.
Yeah.
And I
like
love
the
David
dudes.
Wayans Jr. Happy Endings was great. I mean, of course, it was too good to actually exist beyond what it was. And I'm sure it would have started to suck anyway, because here's the problem with sitcoms. They order 30 episodes a year. So it's hard to make them not suck quickly.
Yeah, it seems like they're slow. Some networks are getting away from that. Did you see? So like Fox is just like off. So you know how like networks get retainers with stars.
Oh,
like
I didn't. I mean, I guess I do that, but I didn't.
So like Nassim Pedrad, you know who that is from SNL?
Yes, she's attractive.
She's a looker of sorts.
Yeah,
she pops up on New Girl from time to time. So Fox has her on a retainer, and
but she's not the main number 2 girl.
No, she's like just on it from time to. She's what's the black guy's character? He's a cop now, and she's his partner. So she's like on it from time to time. But she has a show at Fox, had her on retainer, and they're finally making her show, and she's going to play a 12-year-old boy.
Sure, she's pumped.
I think she is, actually, because it's just going to be weird. But the show's probably not going to make it. Though Fox is the network now trying to make good comedies of the network.
They are.
They like kind of took the NBC
love the
guy.
cop one.
Yeah, I like it too. The NBC guy just kind of, they took the NBC model when the NBC tried to switch their comedy model, is really what they did. Yeah. So yeah, what is your number? So yeah, Bartender. We just totally got sidetracked there, but there's tons of bartenders and everything.
I mean, Cheers is like one of the most beloved shows ever.
Can't believe they haven't tried to remake it.
It's coming.
Can't.
It's coming, right?
Or at least like don't even put the name Cheers in it. Just like remake it, like same thing. I don't know. It's gotta be available.
There's this thing coming to Chicago. We're not going to get totally back on track yet. It's called the Max Pop-Up Shop, and I see people RSVPing to it all the time on Facebook.
Yeah, it's the.
Is that like, real, or is that just one hoax played on?
No, it's a real thing.
People with '90s nostalgia.
It's a real thing.
But it was a lie.
You should start one from another show. I don't know what that is. The Peach Pit.
What's that from? 90210, right?
You never watched Beverly Hills 90210.
Not really. No, I didn't. That is kind of the age gap between us. Like you're
right. You're right.
Probably does put you more in that demo than me.
Yeah, you're right. That makes sense. That actually does make sense.
What's number 8 is Lawyer.
Lawyer. Okay.
It's actually kind of boring, and kind of an auxiliary job, except if it's like the DA and The Wire or something like that.
Yeah. I never really. Maybe it's just easy because it's easy to make a plot like a hour episode plot around Lawyer. Like I know people who are lawyers. I'm not like asking them about their work every day. Like to be fair, I don't care.
I equally don't care about anyone's job.
That's totally true. You'd have to really blow me away with some.
I was a sports writer, and I hated talking about it mostly because people thought it was way better than it was. Because everyone, this is another big TV move. They just put you at the highest level.
Yeah,
of it. So like the TV character is the Cubs beat writer for the Chicago Tribune.
But I swear to God,
for like the Des Moines Register, which is what most people are.
Yeah, like everybody loves Raymond. I think he had like a sweet sports writer gig or something on that show. But you're right. You tend to be at the top of your career. These people,
but they act like it still sucks. Because these shows are based in cities.
Yeah. So my number 8 is Criminal.
I actually have my Criminals broken into two subsets.
That's great.
So
we can talk about them separately then when we get to yours.
They're toward the top.
We'll wait then.
Criminals.
We'll talk about them later then when we get to yours. And then my number 7 to go along with Criminals is Spy/Mercenary. You know,
I didn't do that. I thought about it, but I was like, you know what? I don't really like those shows or movies or books.
Oh man, you don't like a good spy. I guess you don't really. Are you into The Americans?
I am into The Americans, actually. That's a deeper dive kind of spy. Spy to me, I just think James Bond right away. And then I thought of that show, The Blacklist, which I never watched.
I'm a good. I could be in for a spy book. Some weird some weird George Pelecanos. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'll dig like the British, like the actual dramas that dig a little deeper, like the Tinker Tailor type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's definitely an interesting job. That's a job I would ask someone about if they told me they had it.
Speaking of Speaking of criminal, I have a friend who I don't really see much anymore, because she's traveling the world. Who I think is a spy, actually. I don't want to say her name in case she hears this and then wants to murder me.
Oh yeah, plus the NSA is listening, so double down. Let's double down on non-risk.
Yeah. Yeah, so Spy Mercenary was my number 7. I had something else I was gonna say, but I totally forgot. What is your number 7?
My number 7 is this is a vague one, but it's definitely common. Tech person.
I thought about tech person. I think this one's gonna become more.
I'm not talking
common in the
IT.
future.
I'm talking about like I am a website, graphic design, bullshit, blah blah blah. Look at my shoulder bag.
Yeah, and if they are an IT person, they're also a hacker. Because every IT person is an IT person did the day, hacker by night. If you're in a TV show,
They're not like IT person by day, player of obscure card game at comic book shop by night person.
Not Magic the Gathering, the one more obscure than that.
Yeah, more obscure than Magic and D&D.
No, but they're like, yeah, they're hackers at night. They're just like part of Anonymous. No, I'm just describing the plot of Mr.
Great show. Great show.
I'm like halfway through season 1, so I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that one's gonna become more common in the future.
Well, it's gotta be. And I'm trying to think of what like the creative hindrance it presents is. Like you're working for a shitty website, but you really want to start your own social media channel thing, network. And this,
or you're like a graphic designer, but like you have to just design this boring stuff, and you really want to make a video game or like something like that. I don't know. I think that's the plot of
video game creator is not a common one. You think
it's only the plot of Grandma's Boy, which is like the best Adam Sandler produced movie in a long time, and it's the one he's not in.
You haven't seen The Ridiculous Six?
Straight to Netflix joint.
Hey, it was the most streamed movie in the history of Netflix.
That makes sense. Kids probably still love Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Greatest actor of our generation. Quote from me. I was like 11. Around the same time, I said that Timberwolves would regret taking Big Country Reeves over, taking Kevin Garnett over Big Country Reeves.
You're spot on with both your comedic acting and basketball scouting.
I thought Randy Moss was going to be awesome.
Well, you should have been a football scout, apparently.
I wrote a letter to Hallis Hall saying they should draft Randy Moss.
They should have listened to you. I don't know who they picked.
Curtis
should have listened. Oh man, sold him a pair of hunting boots once.
High end.
Oh, he bought the most expensive hunting boots we sold at Bass Pro Shops when I worked there. So what number was that one that we just
That was my 7, so I guess I have to do my 6.
Yeah.
Musician. But I actually specifically called out musician who is not pursuing their passion.
So like writing jingles.
Yeah. That's a really common one. Or like scoring commercials, but they want to score films.
Togetherness, our guy in Togetherness, he is like I don't know, he's not really a musician. Sound tech. I don't know if he's really a musician actually. But yeah, I know what you're saying. That's a good one. Jingles and things like that. Yeah, for sure. And then or it's like a guy who like is like just a struggling musician who's actually not really struggling.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't a lot of main characters in shows or books that are musicians. That are fictional.
No.
That Vinyl show is coming out actually on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. It's at my DVR.
Yeah, I'm interested in checking it out.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, why not? It's not.
It's HBO. I always give it. I stayed with John from Cincinnati for like 6 episodes. It was so weird.
Yeah, but you didn't give that show, this last show that got canceled, a shot. The one with Jack Black and Tim Robbins, did you?
Oh, I did watch like 4 or 5.
Oh, did you? Oh, look at you. So you're okay. You're in.
I mean, those two I'm generally pro. I guess more Tim Robbins and Jack Black.
I agree, though. I mean, yeah, I'm not a big Jack Black guy. I love School of Rock, which is weird for me to be like the one Jack Black movie I like to be about rock and roll. But I love that movie.
Saw it in the theaters with low expectations, and so I loved it too.
You're right. I had 0 expectations when I watched it.
I had 0 expectations for their government ambassador show too, though, and it met them.
All right. So I'm on my number 6.
You are on your number 6, yes.
Okay. This one, it's like gallery owner / like curator.
Yeah, that's it's almost exclusively chick job.
Yeah, did somebody from Sex and the City have that job? I think one of them did.
Yes, Charlotte did.
I know it was Marnie's goal on Girls, and then she tried to become a musician, so she's just covering all the bases. So I know it happens more. I can't think of other specific instances, but I know it's definitely out there more, that one. And you're right, it's almost exclusively women.
Jennifer Aniston in The Breakup. They're always really hot. But I feel like that actually might be true in real life. That's like a hot woman job they have before they stop working.
Yeah, that actually might be pretty true. I think you have to be kind of wealthy to get that gig too, which probably helps.
I mean, Ashley's an art history major, and she works for a nonprofit that helps sick children. So that's actually what happens when you're an art history major.
Well, hey, good for her, because she actually got a job as an art history major.
She is in grad school, though.
Okay. So then my number 5 we already talked about, and that's bartender.
Sam Malone being the most famous.
Yeah, he's got to be the most famous fictional bartender ever.
It's
Mo.
Actually,
what about Mo Sizlak?
Mo Sizlak. It's an incredibly shitty job. I talked to a guy. There's a comedian who bartends at the Green. What's the one downtown? That's the oldest bar in the city. The Green Mill.
Green Mill.
That's a jazz. No, that's a jazz.
Uptown.
The Green Door Tavern. Is that it?
Okay, yeah, maybe.
And he says it sucks. He's like, you're there every night till 4 o'clock in the morning, and people think you get late all the time, but you really don't, because you're there every night till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Like clean up.
Yeah. He says all these lawyers come up to me and they say I have the best job in the world. I'm like, you're a lawyer. I'm a bartender.
I'm sure they say that too.
They do, because they're going through their crisis that I'm going through right now, but all the things they didn't do. But so they're regretting that they didn't serve lawyers drinks when they were 26.
Yeah,
Instead, I mean, they were probably busy lawyering and getting laid all the time.
When they were 26, they probably had some sucky lawyer job,
or in law school.
Yeah, but yeah, they're probably doing all right now. I don't know though. Like the law school thing isn't the greatest path nowadays. It's too many people go into it, so like I don't know how many people who like went to law school, but like it's like a 50-50 shot. Whether they got a nice gig or kind of just are stuck with a bunch of debt. I have like some. Yeah, it's just.
I mean, the for-profit education system has been bad on a lot of industries, but that is one that it has really wreaked havoc upon.
Don't worry, Bernie will make it so college is free, so then everybody in the world will just have to pay for grad school after that. It'll change nothing. It'll just let everybody be kids for 4 more years. It'll just.
Damn it! That's so realistic and dream crushing.
sorry, everybody feeling the burn. I just put it out because that's what's gonna happen. It's already happening.
It already kind of happens, like,
but it's gonna be even worse.
Yeah.
So then are we on your number 5 or was that your number 5? No, we were talking about me saying bartender again. What's your number 5?
Journalist. The most misrepresented of all of them. We kind of talked about the Cubs beat writer. You're always like one step away from getting that super gig, but you're already at like GQ. So you already have like an amazing job.
Yeah, they always yeah. I have journalist. I have journalist as my number 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's really misrepresentative.
They always make or appear to make more money than a real journalist was at their stage in life.
Yeah, because they're young and hot. So they should be in a small market, not doing glamour work.
Yeah.
Like working at the Kansas City Star is an amazing job in journalism. There are 0 stories set in working at the Kansas City Star.
You're right. They're all like columnists. Like
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing too. They are covering like one of the 4 or 5 most interesting topics, and they have the best job in it.
Yeah, they're often columnists. What was Carrie Bradshaw's job on
Sex columnist?
Sex columnist.
She wrote a once weekly sex column and lived in like the most expensive neighborhood in America.
To be fair, I brought that up to Jess, and she said they said it was rent controlled the place that she had. She did get one of the 5 rent controlled apartments in that neighborhood.
I have a friend who still is subletting his rent controlled apartment and he's been gone from New York for 21 years.
That sounds pretty illegal.
Just in case he wants to go back.
Let's not name any names.
More my parents' friends. Too, by the way.
Well, I would assume based on the fact that they've been subletting their rent controlled place for 21 years.
For 2/3 of my life.
Yeah. So that was your number 4?
My number 5. And my number 4 is Cop, although thinking back, maybe it was too high. I mostly just kind of went, okay, here are the shows I love: The Wire, Sopranos, and Mad Men, and kind of encapsulated those in the top of my list. So I really should have just said McNulty and Bunk being that job.
No, but you're right. Cop could have been way higher on my list. Cop is just everywhere.
And I don't watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Is that the name of that show?
Yeah, with Andy Samberg.
Yeah, but I am glad to see that they're bringing some humor to that job, like they should I mean, it's probably kind of funny sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's got to be.
I mean, it's a bunch of bros.
That's the other thing, though, about cops on TV. They're almost always detectives. It's not just like beat cops. Like, you're not just following beat cops around on TV.
Except unless you're watching Cops.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like they're always like detectives.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of every show.
I can't think of a show with beat cops. Maybe Carl Winslow was one.
Carl Winslow definitely was one because he had the car,
the
uniform. But it was such an auxiliary part of his life.
Well, I mean, he helped John McClane on during that Christmas party on Die Hard, so that worked out.
John McClane, right?
John McClane. I said McCain, didn't I? Whatever.
Yeah. He helped John McCain during that 7-year imprisonment.
Somebody brought up to me, I think it was actually watching the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that Home Alone is just kids Die Hard. He's like, that's why I liked it so much. He was like, I think it's actually where I heard it. And I'm like, yeah, it totally is just kid Die Hard.
Honestly, if I had to talk about the happiest nights of my life, the night I saw Home Alone 2 is probably in the top 10.
Home Alone 2.
And immediately it was like, get me a talk boy right away. And we got one for Christmas that year.
Home Alone was one of those movies that was like just like the best when you saw it the first time.
Yeah.
I feel like American Pie was like that too, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've brought up expectations. I think that is absolutely the way that you enjoy movies now, is just based on how much you think of them. I think I'm gonna have a hard time with The Revenant.
Yeah, I think I might too. You want no expectations to watch a movie.
Yeah. I went to see that Spotlight, which is one of the Academy Award movies. I knew vaguely what it was about, and I loved it because I just had like a vague idea, not the specifics. In The Revenant, I already know he sleeps inside a horse. Sorry if you didn't know that.
I knew that. I think a lot.
Why is everyone telling you that? It's not necessarily a spoiler.
Whatever. I've seen Bear Grylls do that on TV. I've seen it. Probably fake, but he did it either way. So was that your number 4?
My number 4 was Cop.
Oh yeah. Okay. My number 4 is which we kind of said before. The list is boutique, like cute shop owner, like cute small business owner.
Another super gendered. A lot of these are just very gender specific.
Absolutely. And like they'll have like a cute show, or like sometimes it's like a bakery or something like that, but it's like a cute, like they own this little business and it's always really cute, but like it doesn't seem like there's ever really any customers, but they somehow own this place. And
it doesn't address that 85% of businesses fail within the first year.
Absolutely. And it seemed One of the characters on what was that show we just talked about getting canceled with Damon Wayans Jr.?
Happy Endings. She
Yeah.
owned a boutique.
And like nobody was ever in it.
Well,
And
the,
they don't have
the
to-
other characters of the show were.
Yeah, they never talk about like how it's like like a lot of hours you have to work when you like own a small business. And they just no, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, you're doing your own payroll, for instance.
But yeah, that's one of the things. So then my number 3 is magazine editor.
Okay, so you went deeper than journalist.
I have journalist as number 2 on my list, but yeah, magazine editor because I can think of a few, and it's a huge rom-com one. It's a huge rom-com one. So besides that, though, Devil Wears Prada. I mean, that's basically about a magazine. But then there's How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Kate Hudson, I think, is a magazine editor. And then 13 Going on 30. Jennifer Garner is a 13-year-old person in her. She's a 13-year-old commanding her body, and she's running a magazine successfully. And I believe Andy McDowell's character in 4 Weddings and a Funeral is a magazine editor.
That you just spanned 2 generations of rom-coms.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a big rom-com one.
The Andy McDowell era, those were much better rom-coms, though.
But Andy McDowell, people love Andy McDowell, I think.
I mean,
I feel like she should have had a bigger career.
I don't know why she didn't, because she was in that movie Groundhog Day, and I feel like there was one other that was like huge, and then she just kind of was like, "I'm cool doing
hair commercials."
Yeah. Revlon.
Yeah. Yep. And then my number 2 was journalist / writer, and I think that happens because the people writing the movies were like had that job at some point in their life, so or like the shows or whatever, like so like they know about it.
I mean, and in America, in our lore, we luckily revere these people, the Hemingways, the Carvers, things like. I mean, I can't really name that many famous authors, but there are Mark Twain. There are some.
Yeah. But yeah, all kinds of writers, journalists, screenplay, like it's all that stuff. And it's because that's what they do. So that's what they know. So they write it, which makes some sense. It actually makes sense why there's a lot of those in TV shows and movies and everything.
It is an interesting job.
Yeah. I mean, especially to people who don't do it, too. It's more interesting.
If you met someone who said I was an author, you definitely ask a follow-up.
Yeah, because I'd probably think it was bullshit.
It probably is. Because there's like 20 people that make a living doing that. So
it means that like they wrote a book once. That's
are you like
available on Kindle?
If you're meeting them and it's not like Chuck Klosterman, Jonathan Franzen, like 6 other people, Nick Hornby, yeah, you're probably not an author.
Like I know some people who've written books. I don't know if they call themselves authors though. Like that's the difference, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, okay, so I could say I've played the Laugh Factory because I did the open mic there. That's akin to saying you're a published author because you self-published.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I haven't played the Laugh Factory. I will be at Zany's on Tuesday, however, in a similar circumstance. Zany's in parentheticals Rosemont, as I always like to point out.
Nice.
Hey, 7 minutes. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see how much some traveling salesmen like my shit.
Hey, they'll probably
it has to be clean. So no Yelp joke.
You can't tell your Yelp joke to close it out.
Which is fucking me up. I got one good joke in 1 year doing this. And they're like, nope, not that.
That sucks. Why does it have to be so clean?
You generally, when you're first auditioning for clubs, they want your clean material.
Really? I had no clue.
No, I mean, I didn't know that until I started doing this. You should be able to do both, right? And the goal is to go on. I don't think it is as much anymore with comedy, but it used to be to get on Carson.
Yeah, and you can't.
5 minutes and you can't say anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't do that stuff anymore.
But you actually can say a ton on network TV now. I think I was watching Workaholics at 1 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, and they said "fuck" on Comedy Central.
That's not network. You can say "fuck" on Comedy.
So cable.
You can say you can swear at any cable network. It's just a matter of what the network allows, because it's not over the air.
And Mad Men has, because I'm rewatching with Ashley.
So it's not FCC controlled, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so maybe that's arcane. Anyway, we move back to the real fake world.
Your number 3?
3. My number 3 is Drug dealer, which I
Great.
separate from.
Criminal. I assume you're gonna go drug dealer and mobster and like mafia as your two different.
Let's not talk about the sleeping
dealer.
by the horse just yet. But
Drug dealer. Yeah, drug dealer is a great fake occupation.
and they almost always end up as somehow a sympathetic character.
Weeds.
Yeah, you got the gamut. You got from Weeds to The Wire to Spike Lee's Clockers.
Yeah, you got
Underrated,
everything.
actually. But they're usually not necessarily the bad guy. They're usually portrayed as a victim of circumstance, which is probably because liberals write the shows. But I'm cool with it.
The ones where they're not, they're just getting arrested.
Oh yeah, but I mean, if they're a bad guy, they're a really bad guy.
Yeah, I
They've
mean,
like hooked the lead character's sister on heroin and are like,
I mean the characters in The Wire are the bad guys, kind of. I mean, unless you're saying the politicians are.
the bad guys in The Wire.
Like Marlowe's not.
Marlowe's a bad guy. Marlowe's a bad guy, but so is, so is Burrell and so is Rawls.
Yeah, I mean, there's like pretty much everybody in that show is a bad guy for the most part.
The Wire is the best show because of that, because no one's in a box.
Yeah, but like Marlowe's like a straight up bad guy. Like there's
nothing there's no redemptive moment for Marlowe.
his redemptive moment is being like, "Fuck it, I'm still a drug dealer."
Yeah, that is his redemptive moment. So not really.
He's like, "I'm not gonna go out a bitch like Stringer. I'm just gonna do my thing."
Yeah, that is his redemptive moment.
And that's not really a good redemptive moment, but that's what it is.
I have said this time and time again, but I never understood why these people care so much about their name ringing out of the street.
We just don't get it, man. We didn't.
We
grow
just
up
don't
in
get
the
it. I didn't grow up in the
I don't think
streets.
we could get it. I don't think
There were streets where I grew up, but they were different.
Yeah, I mean, my name rang out in the streets where I grew up about like how my wiffle ball skills.
Mine rang out at about 5:30 when I was due home.
So, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is business executive. This is
I didn't
vague.
put that, but like you like high ranking business.
High ranking business executive.
Okay.
Don Draper mainly, but
I think there's actually a decent amount of advertising, actually, specifically, and like people who are like ad execs.
there is because it's one of the rom-com professions too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what it is. Yeah, businessman. Though I don't know if that one's that overrepresentative. Like a lot of people, you could just say are business.
You're right. That's a real life thing. There are rich people who are good at their job.
Yeah. But yeah, you just wanted to get your Draper in there.
I did.
So then my number 2 is journalist, writer. We already talked about that. My number 1 is not one I'm into, but one I wanted to talk about the most because I think it's put in things more like it's architect.
I was actually trying to think of famous architects, and I could only think of that Ayn Rand book and George is aspiring to be one.
I put it's on my list of architects that I came with off the top of my head. Were Tom Hanks in Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh,
The dude from How I Met Your Mother, the least famous guy, but the guy who was the star of the show. He was an architect. Charles Bronson in Death Wish was
he's an architect. Okay.
Matt. I think Matt Dillon's character in Something About Mary. And
Isn't he a PI?
I think
No. He's an architect.
Yeah.
She's an architect. He might be lying about being an architect.
it might be that. Yeah.
That's what it is.
And I said it's one of Art Vandelay's occupations.
It is. And the whole book, Atlas Shrugged. Where
Yeah.
the Fountainhead is about it.
Well, I think it's Fountainhead.
Yeah. So there's that.
There's a lot of architects. Like I think I know one person who's an architect in my life. Do you know many architects? You live in a big city. Feel like you should know some architects. You
No.
don't, though, do you?
I know one. She doesn't live here.
Okay.
And I don't even know if she's actually an architect or is like some sort of like industrial engineer or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Like to be the actual architect. Like
To be someone who sits at a architect's table
Drafting
and like
table.
draws on a
but it's probably on TV they probably still draw it on like paper, but there's no way that's what they do now.
You're right. Yeah, I just made that up.
But I don't know. I think it's because they like to use that job because it's like creative, but like you can
Seemingly realistic, even though it isn't.
seemingly realistic, smart, a smart creative person would do. So like a person that would be like of desirable theoretically does that job, makes money, smart, but still like creative.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's why it pops up so much. And there's there ever been a show about architects? Like it's about like the show's about
What's
being
designing women about?
interior design.
Yeah, I thought so. I just wanted to mention designing women.
I bet there's actually a lot of interior designers.
I actually thought of that too.
So I think I know what your number one is.
Mafia guy, organized criminal.
About this, I actually when I was looking up criminals like on TV, I came to I saw something about this and it was a great point. It's like in movies and TV and all fiction, it's really easy to become a mafia member. Except for in The Sopranos, I think. The Sopranos, it seemed like they would be like, "Oh, now we're not making anybody right now."
Goodfellas too.
Yeah, but in a lot of these things, like
those guys weren't made.
Yeah, and I guess you still could be in the mafia and not be made, so it's different, right?
Yeah,
but it seems pretty easy to get in.
And and in reality, there's like 10 people in each of the 5 families, and that's it.
Yeah,
so it's very difficult, especially if you weren't born into one of those names.
Yeah, and I don't like. So it's pretty. When was the last big mafia movie?
Movie? Do you count The Departed?
I guess no, that was it. I think that'd be it, right? That
was
like,
that's not the Italian mafia, so it's slightly different, but
it's still it's still mafia.
I mean, he's a mobster for sure.
Yeah. No, that one counts. That's probably the last one. We'll probably
that was a huge movie.
They're
few and far between, but
well, I mean, there's probably been ones made that just weren't good. That we don't like.
Well, I mean, this year they made the one about the guy that Departed is loosely based on, Whitey Bulger.
Yes,
Johnny Depp.
That I assume only people in Boston watched.
Yeah, because that movie already was done well. So why go back to the well, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Also, I watched a documentary on Whitey Bulger, and I'm very unlikely to watch a documentary and basically biopic on the same exact thing.
Yeah, and it was why you're probably quitting on the OJ TV show.
I'm not going to quit. I'm going to stick with it, but it's just horrible. It's just an abomination.
Yeah, it's from what I've heard, it's terrible.
If you're going to do a period piece, you have to be almost subtle about things being different. You can't hit people over the head with it the way they do in the OJ documentary.
You know, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Period pieces, but subtle, right? You don't ever see a headline like Clinton under indictment.
No, the things you notice are like
that's like more subtle.
Like the cars they drive or like the phones they use. And it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like that does it great, both of those shows.
And they spend so much time trying to talk about how big a celebrity OJ was. If someone's watching the show, they know how big a celebrity OJ is. You know, they're trying to establish that character.
Do they talk about how he was in movies?
They do in Hertz commercials.
I love that you're like, he rushed for 2,000 yards.
Yeah, they did the same thing this week about like that run against UCLA at 67. Boy, that was the best.
To be fair, I just don't think the guy who writes Glee is going to write good about sports.
Or crime or drama.
Well, no, but he's also the American Horror Story guy, which people seem to like that show, and it like wins awards. So that's why they got American Crime Story off American Horror Story.
Oh, that's why it's called American Crime Story. I did,
and potentially they're going to do other like crime stories, like how American Horror Story is also like a anthology series. Not.
I mean, I figured they were going to try and make it a serial like that, but this seems like rough out of the gate.
Yeah, it's a problem. Speaking of anthology series, and this is really a loose segue. Have you seen?
I did my number one Mafia.
Yeah. Have you seen a preview for the movie 999?
No.
Because it kind of looks like it's a very true detective-y vibe. Like probably because Woody Harrelson's in it. But it's like let's call it True Detective meets Training Day in a movie, and I couldn't be more in. There's tons of people in it. It's kind of actiony, but like more in that Training Day vibe of action.
You know the thing about tons of people in the cast, that always ends up kind of being disappointing. I'd rather have like 3 awesome people and then like a bunch of people that maybe one day will be awesome.
To be fair, that's actually an amazing point. Because like Heat has a ton of awesome people in it, right? But were they all awesome when it was made? I don't know. I'd have to. They probably.
Heat
were.
is actually pretty fucking good.
Yeah, Heat's amazing. Well, so this movie here's your cast. The star of it, I don't even know who the star is. It's either like Casey Affleck or Woody Harrelson, and then there's like Kate Winslet's, I think, the bad guy. Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, Norman Reedus, who is like apparently like the only good part of Walking Dead. I can't ever say this. 12 Years a Slave guy.
Oh yeah,
I can't ever say his name. Omar's in it. Yeah, man, we gotta stop.
But that's actually a good cast. That's like
because they're not all. You're right.
Not superstars.
Yeah, I mean, you got some Oscar winners in there, and Kate Winslet and Ejiofor or whatever. But like, yeah, no, you're right. That is actually a good cast because they didn't go top for every person, like Ocean's 11 or something.
Like there was that movie. Speaking of Brad Pitt, that was based on the Cormac McCarthy novel, The Counselor.
Yeah,
it had an amazing cast, and it sucked.
But yeah, I'm in on this 999 movie. It's probably gonna be terrible now because I talked it up, even though I've only seen like one trailer for it. But I'm in it. I don't think it's gonna be winning any awards or anything like that. But I think it looks like it could be entertaining. So before we end up here, I think this is a fresh in our minds day. For the day we're recording this, I think we need to say something on record here. It's the end of the Matt Forte era here.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Valentine's Day and how you hate it.
I do, but let's not talk about that.
Oh,
I'm just gonna offend people there.
I have been out all day shopping for Valentine's Day because I have so much money. I'm making chicken tikka masala.
Hey, look at you!
I'm romantic. It looks like it's gonna be really fucking complicated. There's no way she doesn't help me with it.
So Forte, for those who don't know, me and Brendan are big Bears fans. I don't know
who doesn't know that listens to this show.
I don't know.
Well, thanks for listening. If you don't actually know who we are, that's amazing.
We're big Bears fans. Matt Forte has been what? He's been like basically the best player on the team for the last like 8-9 years.
Yeah, it sucks that he's gone. I think that they might have been unwise in just letting him walk and not seeing what the market was like for him because he still seems to be a capable player.
I think they were wary. I mean, it's different ownership, or different, not ownership, but different general managers. Like how they handled like the Urlacher stuff was like bad.
Yeah, I mean, I see that point too. But I think that Forte has more value than Urlacher.
Did at that point. Urlacher never played for another team.
That's why it's a different. I think that it's a different.
Matt Forte is going to play for another team, and I hope it's a good team, and I just hope it's not the Packers. So I'll fucking throw up.
They did sign Peppers, and he was just
That was different though, because like I feel like I mean he's been pretty good for them, but like when he left the Bears, he wasn't doing that well.
I mean, Forte's coming off probably his worst season because of the injury, granted, but
yeah, he still played well when he played.
Yeah, he's the best offensive player we've had since probably Walter Payton. So it sucks that they won 1 or 0 playoff games in his time with the Bears.
I think 1. They beat Seahawks.
Yeah, they did in overtime. Lance Briggs had some huge plays in that game. I don't know that he was necessarily the last vestige of the old guard because I don't know that he was actually the old guard, but teams change, athletes move on.
Yeah. It's a bittersweet day. I mean, I kind of like that they're almost making a right move. It's a move they wouldn't have made. Like,
I mean, we live in a city where the Bulls are talking about paying Pau Gasol $20 million annually.
4 or 5 years ago, they would have offered Matt Forte like a 4 or 5 year contract when he's 30 years old, which isn't, history would tell you is not a good move for a 30-year-old running back. He's gonna be on the fucking Packers, and he's gonna be amazing because he's like James Starks if James Starks was fucking awesome at football.
Yeah, you want to put him on a team where he can just get 15 touches a game, which I think was kind of the goal for the Bears this year, in truth.
Yeah, they started using the other guys. Yeah.
Not because his touches aren't valuable, just because, I mean,
he's getting older.
They do decrease in value as they increase in volume.
Yeah.
Because of his age and all that. But, I mean, what about, like, if he really wants to go, like, Pittsburgh could always use 2 backs, you know? I mean, I know Bell's awesome, but look at what DeAngelo Williams did there this year.
I mean, if they keep DeAngelo Williams, they won't.
Yeah, they won't keep. Yeah, they can't use 3.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they can use a guy like that. Like everybody brings up the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean
he'd be amazing there. He'd be amazing.
I mean, what about the Colts?
Them too. They haven't really been able to figure that out.
Yeah, so there's a lot of opportunity for him out there. Sounds like he's still going to live here though, which is cool.
Colts isn't that bad of a situation for him then, if that's like in his motivation to like not to go too far. Probably doesn't matter though. You just like go for the season or whatever and then come back.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are lots of people that have kept homes in their native lands
or wherever they want to live. Right? Where is he from? I know he played college at like
Louisiana. He is from Louisiana. I don't know exactly where. I don't know.
Okay, so he's from
New Orleans or.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then.
That wraps it up for us. I'm going to do the plug again. 2 weeks from yesterday, BLT Comedy at the Beer Bistro. It's our pilot. We need lots of people, so please come.
Give them the actual date since we don't know who.
You're right. February 25th, Thursday, February 25th at Beer Bistro in the West Loop, Madison and Morgan at 8 p.m. Good lineup. Ray Hollub is headlining.
Nice.
It's free.
That's a good price, people. You should go. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. I'm gonna say all our stuff again. You can you should like our Facebook page if you haven't already. Share our podcast on Facebook, subscribe on iTunes, follow us on Twitter at First of the Worst, or you can follow Brendan at shy_Murph and me at Steve Z. Brendan's been dropping some hot jokes lately in the Twitterverse.
I don't know.
So actually,
I'm forced to have really opinions on things right now.
Too busy grinding that comedy life. So, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye, guys.